Hello and welcome to this gameplay video of this unfinished game named Total Fighter. Total Fighter is a fighting game, but it is rather unorthodox on the way it implements things. Normal fighting games are usually built around the idea of combo, which is a quite limited concept with very specific behavior. In Total Fighter there's no combos, there are positions, movements between those positions, and orders which trigger these transitions. So everything in Total Fighter is a position or a movement. Even the movement of the character, jumping, or even the things that the characters do when they get hit or knocked back are all movements and positions which can be mapped to complex interactions. The orders are also very varied. For example, the orders are not just the player controls. There are also things like when the character touches the ground when falling, or even when the character starts falling after jumping. And of course, the getting hit by another character is also an order which can be mapped to complex movements. This system allows for virtually infinite combos, which allow common combos as well, and it also allows for complex interactions like counterattacks, state changes, and blocking movements and things that can become very interesting when combined. So I'm gonna, as you can figure out, this is a testing environment. The characters are test characters and they're not complete. However, I can show some things out just so you get an idea. I already jumped around a bit and moved around. I want you to bear in mind that the fact that the movement is typical is just so it's not violent at first, but it need not be like this. I could just changing the configuration of the game, I could make movement be much more strange and complex, and you'll see some of that later. Then I have some fighting moves, like for example, if I press this first button, I have this punch thing, which simply deals some damage. And after the punch, I can, if I press the second key just out of the void, it does nothing. But if I press it after the punch, it does this small knee kick thing. And even better, if I double tap the kick thing after a punch, it does something like this, which as well knocks back the other character, which is pretty cool. Besides that, if I use the punch and then the punch, then the kick, and then I press a third button, it does something like this, which also knocks back, and it's really powerful. It does a lot of damage. Fuck me. Okay, something like that. Oh, by the way, when the character recovers, it also knocks back. For example, let me see if I can. No, I cannot try it. But if I was near the other character when it came back up, I would get knocked back by the fact when he's standing up. So besides these basic movements, then I can do some more complex things, like for example, there's this other key which starts this charge up thing, which basically sets me on fire. I can interrupt it anytime I want, and I cannot move or attack or anything while I'm doing it. But if I charge up long enough and the other character shouldn't let me do it, I become fired up, and then everything becomes altered. I cannot jump, for example, but if I want to move, for example, it becomes much more powerful. If I want to move backwards, instead of walking, I just teleport back. And if I want to move forward, I do this small fire charge thing, which is much quicker than a normal movement, and it knocks back the other character as well. And finally, while I'm in this fire up state, if I use the punch instead of just using the normal punch, I do this fire punch thing. 1 second. I do this fire punch thing, which is much more powerful than the normal punch, and it's really powerful. However, the other character can come and knock me back while I'm in state, and it will stop my fired up thing, and I will have to start over again. So this is all for now, but just for a second I would like to show you the configuration files of the game so that you can see what kind of configuration I'm talking about when I say that everything is configurable. So, for example, this is a position, this is the fired up position. As you can see, it has some defense values, it has some images and sound parameters, it has some other parameters like whether the position is affected by gravity or not. You could make characters float in the air temporarily or permanently, depending on what you would like to implement. And of course, it has a mapping of the movements that can be performed at this position and what orders trigger them. On the other hand, this is a movement. It has some range values, some power and attack values, of course, some images and sounds, other effects. It has this moving position and ending position, which are what allow for the continuous continuity of the fighting movements and positions, and some other parameters like what speed it is moving at, whether it teleports or something, and if it keeps momentum and stuff like that. So by changing these configuration files and tailoring them in the right way, I could make very complex characters with very complex behaviors, which would, in my opinion, make for a very fun game to play. So that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed it.